fixed due to this delta cos delta term. Then we went on discussing some important cases. I mean, when and where there would be maxima and minima, and if they occur, then what would be the intensity. In this case, the very it's kind of a utopian case where everything we expect happens. Like we, if we, the best thing is that we'll expect perfectly dark background. For that, we have to keep the amplitudes equal or nearly equal. Then this thing we did. This is the intensity distribution graph. Could you all, four of you, do this integration? This one? Who is trying to join now? Nacho. Okay. Yeah, could you four try this thing at home? Could you do this? Yes? Shubhayu, Lachung, Nirupan, Sudhanshu. Could you get this thing?
No, sir. No, sir.
Try it once again today. Try it. If the case is still like that, I'll just give the solution. Everyone just try once. I is this thing. Integrate this entire thing over the limit 0 to 2 pi. That is the average intensity. Try yourself. Everyone, Neha and Arti, you also do. I just gave the expression. Just be careful with the D and delta sign. Fine. They look very similar. I mean, in your handwriting, they should not look the same symbol. They have some different meaning. Very different meaning. Your delta is the variable. Like dx, it is delta d delta, and a1, a2, they are constant. Okay, I'll wait for Sudhanshu is joining him by himself only. He is using the G Suite. No problem. Try, keep on trying. This integration is very simple. Yes, any progress? Okay, just go to the WhatsApp group. I've just sent it. I sent it just now, the solution. Everyone take a minute and go through it in details and just compare. If someone was doing it by himself or herself, just see how your solution, how much it was similar with mine. You get the message, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Just see. I've done it in details. I don't think there can be any simpler or elaborate solution to this one. And I at the on the right side, I've given a note that between 0 to 2 pi, whether it is sine or cos, the result would be always 0. Just look into the graph at the top, just above that. From 0 to 2 pi, the amount sine theta, I mean the amount of sine theta in the positive side, that is the upper quadrant, is equal to that in the lower quadrant, isn't it? The graph is symmetric. So if you take the average of that, then what is the net result? It is 0. That much it is upward, that much it is downward of the horizontal axis. Same with cos theta. You see there is a bulge at the bottom, and at the top there is two part of the bulge, and overall that much it is upward, that much it is downward. So remember it like this, and this result is very important. Within a complete cycle, the value of sine theta and cos theta, complete cycle means one wave, 0 to 2 pi, it is always 0. And with and this reason, I don't know whether you have begun that the alternating currents chapter or not. I think Das sir has begun it. If not, he will begin soon. Here you will see that why we can consider the RMS value, root mean square value. Why sometimes the square? Why is the square more effective than the normal thing? Because if you do the same with sine square theta, the result will not be 0. Okay, sine square cos square within this limit, the result would be different. I hope you all understood the integration. Any doubt with the
Yes, sir.
integration? Okay, fine. So this is the average intensity. Okay. Now the question is that is this interference thing not violating something? What I mean to say is that we are getting bright and dark bands. Very good. Now, if I take the consideration that A1 and A2 are nearly equal, or if even if we haven't taken that consideration, no issues. But isn't it like that in the dark region, the energy is getting lost? Because the visibility of light is connected with the intensity. More intensity means more brighter light. Now, intensity is what? It is the power per unit area dimensionally. That is, it is energy per unit time per unit area. So when the intensity is zero there, doesn't it mean that all the energy is lost there? Doesn't it mean that all energy is getting lost at those points, or energy is getting destroyed? Are you getting my point? So my question is that isn't interference of light violating the conservation of energy principle, which is something which we are not flexible to negotiate with? Isn't it? Isn't it like that? That is what is happening to these dark points. Yeah, these region, this region, this region.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it may feel like that apparently, but the thing is that no, it's actually it's the redistribution of energy. Okay, redistribution of energy. What does it mean? With the same confusion, we can get the solution. What we are confused with the law of conservation of energy. Can anyone tell me what does it mean? What does the principle state? What is the principle of conservation of energy? Anyone?
So energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but can be transferred
Yeah,
from one body to another.
exactly. The second part is important. That energy is actually it is interconvertible. That is where we are thinking that energy is getting lost. No, that energy is somewhere it is being, transformed to any other form. If we can get a feasible or justifiable form of that converted energy, then we would say that yes, the principle is being abided by. Like the first time when you studied this in class 8, I think the famous experiment of a candle is getting burned, its mass is decreasing, so it's violating the principle of conservation of energy. Then what we said that no, the contents are getting transferred into different gaseous form like water vapor, then the gas of the constituents by which the candle is being formed. So likewise here, the energy which is lost at the dark bands, they are being redistributed to the bright bands. Okay, to create the bright band, no separate energy is being provided or is being utilized. The energy which is getting lost here, it is being redistributed to the bright bands. Okay, so you may get a small question like this in the exam. So is it clear, everyone? Whenever there is a doubt or question regarding this principles violation, what I said, just uh, go by that that rationale, that where is that energy which we are claiming is lost going, or where it is probable to go. Okay, so that's all regarding the discussion of Young's experiment. Any doubt? Is anyone having any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so let us just recapitulate quickly what we have learned. So we began with the superposition principle. Then we went on defining interference. types of interference, then what is the condition for interference, I mean what kind of source or how many sources will require. We'll discuss more in details regarding this. That is, we need one source. From there we have to create multiple sources. In our case, we are creating two sources out of one. That would be sufficient. Then we just briefly discussed what are the ways of creating uh, multiple sources from one source of light. Division of wavefront is one, division of amplitude is the other. So in the first part, I said that for the time being, we would be discussing the division of wavefront, this thing. Then the experiment, we just went on doing some mathematics, which I believe that most of you have felt complicated because it's the first time, probably. Many of you are doing this. Then we deduce the expression for resultant intensity at a point, then locating the maxima and minima, bright and dark bands, and discussing this thing. So that's all regarding the experiment. Now the next thing is that, okay, experiment is done. We want to study the pattern now. So next discussion will be a fringe width. So fringe, the word fringe here means that the bands that we are talking about, dark and bright, actually they are not as broad as they look. Okay. I mean, these are highly, magnified pictures. So we want to study these fringes and the width. Okay, what is the gap between two consecutive fringes? That would be necessary for us, because now we know that light is interfering. Now this thing is, I believe, is much more technical. That only interference occurs, that is not enough. We must present it in a, convenient or perceivable manner. Light is interfering, if you see a blurred kind of thing where there is some dark and bright thing mixed, no, that is not the good choice. So to do that, we have to study the gap between the two fringes, and the gap between the consecutive fringe is called the fringe width. Okay, that means I'm talking about this gap, okay, this much gap, or this much gap, width. Okay, same thing. That is called the fringe width. Is everyone okay with what we are going to learn? Has everybody understood? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now again we have to do some mathematics to arrive to the conclusion or the necessary result. So I am just redrawing the diagram. Just take 1 or 2 minutes and draw this diagram, okay, in your copy. And try to give arrows here. The arrow is, I mean, in PowerPoint I can't get arrows which are, between the line. They are always at the ends. I mean, these are light rays, so you must put arrows like this. Okay. Just take your time and quickly draw this diagram in the copy, and then tell me when you're done.
ফুল কিনতে যাবি না, কেকের দোকানে যাবি, ক্যাশ মেমো নিয়ে আসবি, বুঝলি? বলবি কি অন্য জিনিস, তোমাকে ক্যাশ মেমো লিখে দেবে। প্লেন কাগজে হবে, তোমার নাম সিগনেচার করে সিল দিয়ে দেবে।
Done drawing this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, the picture is very much similar with the first picture which we made for the analytical treatment. Here it is in bit more detail. So S is that same slit, which is, you know, giving a fine light beam, and the beam is made to fall on two small slits S1 and S2, which are at a distance d apart from each other. Okay, now ray from S1, say one ray has hit the point P, another ray from S2 has hit the same point, and we want to see the intensity interference pattern at that point, or better to say intensity, whether it is dark or bright. Now these dimensions are important. You see, if I draw lines parallel to the central line, and this O is the central fringe, which is you know, the connector between the first slit S and the screen. So if I draw lines parallel to this dotted line, they all would be perpendicular, isn't it? Because this thing is itself perpendicular. So the gap between the two slits and the screen, we call it double slit. Okay, there are two slits on this thing. It's available. You saw that video last day. There is a small piece of metal which you can adjust where you can adjust the slit with. Same is with the double slit. There are two small you know, slits which we can adjust, and this is the slit separation, the gap between the screen and the two slits. Is it okay, the diagram? And what is x? X is the distance of the, we'll assume that at the point P we have the mth fringe. Mth means 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever, mth. Okay, m is any number. So the distance of that slit from the central fringe, distance of the mth fringe from the central fringe is, say, x. Clear, everyone, the diagram?
Yes, sir.
XY is the screen, and we are using monochromatic light of wavelength lambda. So did Sudhanshu join? Forgot to check. Oh yeah, he joined. Because when he joins, he doesn't need to seek permission automatically from G Suite, and I don't get a pop-up.
Sir.
Now the calculation. Let's assume that at the point P we have the mth bright fringe. We won't call it band because band is a very broad thing. Fringe is a very thin kind of thing. However, if you magnify, band and fringe look the same. Anyways, so suppose I have the mth bright fringe at the point P. So let me take the two right angle triangles, S1AP and S2PB. So what is S1P squared? What does it mean? It's the hypotenuse. So it is the base square. What is the base? D. See, the good thing is that if you draw parallel lines, all these lines will be having the same distance, D. So this much is how much? It is D. So D square. And this much is how much? It is, the total thing is X, and this much is half of this distance, that is D by 2. So OP is, AP is what? X minus d by 2 whole square. See if you can understand this thing. Is the Pythagoras theorem that I have applied here. Okay. Understood this equation? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now go to the second triangle. It's pretty much similar. SP is the hypotenuse. SP squared is equal to the base square, that is d. Here it is x plus d by 2. Now if you are confused that why is this exactly half, we have discussed it at the beginning, that the double slits are always equidistant from the point S. That is S1 and SS2 are equal, and we are drawing a bisector of this thing. Hence we can draw a bisector of this thing. Now let us subtract the two equations. Second, I am subtracting from the first. So on the right hand side, we would get something like this. Now this formula is a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square, which is equals to 4ab. So 4, what is a? A is x. What is b? B is d by 2. So 4 and 2 cancel. It is 2x d. And this is a plus b, a minus b. Okay. Now there is an assumption. See, these kind of things, this is where you understand that physics is not only mathematics. I have drawn this picture, but in reality these gaps are very small, even fractions of centimeters. So in reality S1 and S2 are very close to each other. Got it? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Now if S1 and S2 are very close, then what will happen? Just try to understand it. Insert a new slide. Just a minute. Yeah. Suppose I'm not using the notation. Suppose it's S1. Okay. I'm not using that as subscript 1. Please bear with me because not necessary. Only the name is necessary. Suppose S1, S2. They are very close to each other in the slits. So now, if they are close to each other, then if I draw a line from here which hits the point P, you can see the gap between the two lines is very less, isn't it? Now, if they are even closer, it's even less. Okay. So the 2 points actually they are very close, and not only the distance between the two slits is very small, but this distance is very large, this one. Yeah, the screen is at a very large distance. I mean, compared to this separation, this screen is at a larger distance. That is, this is the separation. Which one? The gap between the two lines. Now, suppose this distance is very, very far. Okay, the screen is at a very far distance. Are you getting it? The slits are separated with a very small distance and the screen is at a very large distance. Are you getting the picture? What is the
Yes,
real
sir.
scenario? Yeah, so
Yes,
now
sir.
try to understand what does it mean physically, what may happen if the 2 points are very closely spaced and the point where we are trying to look is very far. So under this situation, it won't be any harm if we assume that S1p and S2p are equal. See, there is very small difference between the two, isn't it? The two lines look like as if they are one single line. So S1 and S2, S1p, this point is P. Let me call this P as well. So S1p and S2p are nearly same. Clear this thing?
Yes, sir.
And since it is very far away, we can assume that S1p and S2p are nearly, they are nearly equal to D, this distance. Why? See, in this picture, S1p and S2p are both more than D. This equation is the evidence. But as this screen goes, I mean, as the screen is far away from S1 and S2, we can safely say that S1 and S2, S1p and S2p are equal, nearly equal, and S1p and S2p are both equal to D. Okay. S1p, S2p are nearly equal, and this distance is very nearly equal to capital D. D is the separation between the two, separation between the screen and the double slit. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So S2p plus S1p is how much? D plus D, so it is 2D. Now here is the funny thing. S1p and S2p are nearly equal, but you can't put them equal to 0. There is some difference between them, but they are very close to each other. You could say that, sir, you are telling that S1p and S2p are both equal to D, then isn't this thing going to be 0? No, they are not equal to D. They are very close to D. If this thing becomes 0, then there's no point of the equation. Got it? So these kind of things in physics you have to keep in mind and use very elegantly. This kind of approximations. Fine. So what we would get ultimately? What is S1, S2p minus S1p? Can anyone tell me what is this thing? S2p minus S1p? What does it mean physically? What is S1, S2p minus S1p?
Separation.
Separation of what, or difference of what?
Slits.
No, that is small d. S1 S2p minus S1p. What is S2p? From the diagram, what does it say? What is S2p actually? What is it? What does the arrow signify? From S1 S2 to P, what does it
Fringe.
mean? Fringe is at P. What is S2P? It is the ray of light, isn't it? It is the light going from S2 to P. That is what it is signifying. Simply, S2P is the distance traveled by light from S2 to the point P. And S1P is the distance traveled by the light or the disturbance from S1 to the point P. So S2P minus S1P is what? It is the path difference between the two interfering waves. Okay. It is the path difference. So that is the path difference. And if we take this thing to the right side, it would be 2xt by 2d, 2 and 2 would cancel, and being cancelled. So the path difference is x d by capital D. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, same thing. What is the condition that the mth fringe? I mean, we were telling that suppose at the point P there is mth fringe, say 100th, 53rd, whatever, 55th. So, under what condition or when will it be bright or when it would be dark? So, just we saw last day that for brightness, what is the condition? Delta, the phase difference, that should be equal to 2m pi. Remember this one. For cos delta to be 1 plus 1, delta should be equal to 2m pi. Clear this one? I mean, can you recall this thing? Here it was. See, for maximum intensity, the phase difference should be 2m pi. Okay, but the thing is that here we want path difference, not phase difference. No problem. There is a relation between the two. What is the relation between path difference and phase difference? Phase difference is equals to 2 pi by lambda the path difference delta, isn't it? So delta is how much? Delta is actually lambda by 2 pi times the, sorry, yeah, triangular delta is equal to, or the path difference is equals to lambda by 2 pi phase difference. Put it here. Just remember one thing, whenever you are expressing in terms of path difference, there won't be pi. Pi will appear only when there is phase difference. And on the contrary, if you are writing a phase difference, there should never be delta. Because delta is what? Wavelength. It is the dimension of length. So phase difference is an angle. It's an angle. It's angular term. So it will have pi. And similarly, path difference is what? It is dimensionally length. So it will have wavelength. That is, it will have lambda, not pi. So pi and pi will get cancelled. Don't cancel the 2 because the path difference is what? It is the even multiple of lambda by 2. Don't write it as m lambda. Write it like this so that you can easily say that it is the even multiple of lambda by 2. Clear everyone what I have done here? Speak out if you have any doubt, please tell.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, fine. So what is important to note here that we can find x. What is x? X is this distance. How far the mth fringe is from the central fringe. Now the central fringe is our origin kind of thing. We are measuring everything from this point. Okay, we have to do that. We would have chosen any other point, but this point is it's always very normal to choose a point which is symmetric or about which the other two halves are getting equally distributed. So now what will be the same thing for the m plus 1th bright fringe? That is the next bright fringe. If this was m, what is the next number? M plus 1. So we can write the same for the m plus 1th bright fringe. Simply in place of m, put m plus 1. And now I'm just adding a subscript m plus 1 with x. Got it? So the distance of the point P for the m plus 1th fringe from O is how much? X m plus 1. And similarly, let us call the distance of the mth bright fringe from O as xm. Any doubt here? Why am I writing it like this? Xm plus 1. Any doubt?
Sim, sir.
Yes?
So could you explain that mx plus 1?
This one?
Yes, sir.
See, this thing we have done for the mth fringe. Did you understand this thing for the mth bright fringe? Did you understand this thing from here to here in equation 1?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now we are telling that what about the next bright fringe? Suppose if m was 100 here, 100, what about the next bright fringe? That is 101. That is 100 plus 1. Very simple. What we will do, we'll just see in this equation which thing is changing. Only m. Lambda d by d is constant. Only this distance varies with the fringe number m. So this is for the mth fringe. So what would be for the m plus 1th fringe? Simply here I will put m plus 1. If I ask you what about the m plus 3th bright fringe, in place of m I'll just put m plus 3. As simple as that.
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, it's not always we have to do everything in details. we just put the word similarly. We know that this kind of thing will happen. Why work that hard when we can get it? Anyways, so what we got the gap between two consecutive, sorry, the separation, the location of two consecutive bright fringes from the central fringe. So what is the fringe width? The gap between them. That is what we know. The gap between the two consecutive bright or dark fringes, what? Fringe width. So subtract equation 2 from equation 3. Sorry, subtract equation 3 from equation 2. You would be getting this thing. Lambda d by d. Okay. Clear? And this thing
Yes,
is
sir.
denoted by beta, the fringe width. Now we are already out of time. You try the same thing with the dark fringe. The only thing is that for the dark fringes, what was the condition? Delta was equal to an odd multiple of pi, 2m plus 1 pi. From there, you can easily get that for dark fringes, the path difference would be 2m plus 1 lambda by 2. Then do the sorry, same treatment. You will get the fringe width for the dark band is same as that of the bright band. All the bands have the same width, whether bright or dark. Okay, you can do. We can discuss it in the next class. So if you have any doubt, you can ask. Else you can leave for the next class. Ma'am will begin in a minute.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you everyone. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You too,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.